Welcome back. I would like to introduce you to Celeste Evers. Celeste is the Vice President of Mission Impact at Coburn Place. Her commitment to empowering survivors goes beyond her professional life. It's a core value she embodies in her personal life as well. As a mother of two wonderful children and a loving partner to her husband, she understands the importance of creating a nurturing and supportive environment. Welcome, Celeste.
In these series of videos, we have been discussing a profound challenge that strikes to the core of our society: the pervasive cycle of domestic violence within Black and brown communities. Moments ago, you heard Hazel Owens shed light on the impacts of systemic racism and trauma within BIPOC communities, revealing the intricate layers of this pressing issue. These issues permeate the cycle of domestic violence for the Black and brown survivors. Consider this. On an average, 1 in 4 women experience intimate partner violence in their lifetime. Yet for women of color, particularly Black women, this statistic skyrockets. A study from the Institute of Women's Policy Research reveals that over 40% of Black women will endure domestic violence in their lives. This is a staggering figure that not only underscores the severity of this issue, but also exposes a harsh truth. Black women face some of the highest rates of domestic violence in our nation, compounded by the history of oppression and over-policing and discrimination. Let's analyze the most critical moment for a survivor: leaving an abusive relationship. The Violence Policy Center reports that although Black women make up 14% of the U.S. population, they comprise 31% of the domestic violence fatalities, near 3 times more likely than their white counterparts to be killed by an intimate partner. This stark reality magnifies the challenges of leaving an abusive relationship. Many survivors turn to law enforcement for safety during these critical moments. Yet for survivors in Black and brown communities, this path is fraught with additional risk. Law enforcement often fail to recognize the nuances of domestic violence dynamics within these communities. Black and brown women are disproportionately arrested due to skewed perspectives of who the real victim is in these situations. Systemic biases that exist today are a result of historic injustices that are influenced by many people's perceptions. Black women have been instilled with resilience by their female elders. Black women's perseverance through challenges have evolved as they historically had to fight back. This strength can be misunderstood and misinterpreted by authorities, leading to further victimization rather than protection. Unfortunately, police officers are trained in a certain way. That is usually a Eurocentric way of looking at the real victim. In Black and brown communities, survivors are often taught to be strong for their families, for their communities. So often what happens is when a police officer shows up, there may be 2 people with scars on them. And because a police officer is looking at a physical symptom, they're not looking at the power and control dynamic. Also, in Black and brown communities, there has been a historic distrust of police. So when police come to a scene, survivors who are Black and brown tend to not be as open with the police and not share with them everything that is going on in the household. This can lead to police drawing their own conclusions by what they see, and the survivor and the perpetrator both being taken to jail. When both parties are arrested, that often leads the children to be into DCS custody or Child Protective Service custody, which starts a cycle all over again. The children now experience their own trauma, with what happened with their parents, but also being separate from the situation. We know that children who experience domestic violence are more likely to die by suicide or by drug abuse. So when we talk about domestic violence, this is not just a one-person issue. This is an issue for the society. This affects our next generation and the generation after that. At Coburn Place, we often talk about domestic violence being a house fire, that it often spreads. And if we don't do something to stop it, then it is going to spread and burn our community down. So how do we shift this narrative? We must start by acknowledging the foundational issue, systemic racism. We cannot shy away from the truths that permeate our communities. We must listen to and elevate the voices of those directly impacted, confront our own biases head on, and advocate relentlessly for policies and practices that promote equity and justice. Together, we can rewrite this story by fostering dialogue, promoting awareness, and demanding systemic change. We can pave the way for a future where every person, regardless of race or ethnicity, can live free from the shadow of domestic violence. This is not just a moral imperative. It is a call to action for all of us.